Good morning. Happy Monday. It definitely feels like a Saturday and I've been confused all morning. We had a kind of slow start to the day and then Tiff and I went out and ran a couple of errands, got back and had lunch. I didn't film any of it because I was lazy and sleepy. But we're playing a board game now and Tiffany is taking forever to take her turn. So I thought, what a great time to get on and do an intro for the day. And then they're about to leave town in a couple hours-ish, which is so sad. But then after they go, I probably will be editing because I have not yet put up anything from this weekend. And I have a lot to share with you, I think. So yeah, that's what I'm up to today. Friends are leaving.
I want to go.
Aww.
Until next time.
Wish them safe travels, everyone. Even
In the
though
rain.
they'll be home before you see this.
Just move here. Just stay. I don't want to leave.
Okay, friends are gone, which is really sad, but I am gonna get the stockings ready to felt. I've almost got the last full order finished, and then I think I'm gonna sit down to get some editing done. Is definitely what I should do. So I'll show you what I'm up to with the stockings and then get this up for you. Okay, so the last touches are putting on the hanging loops, which I've done on all 4 of these stockings. I made it a little bit shorter for these tiny ones just because I felt like it was going to look disproportionate, but now I'm kind of worried that it's not going to be big enough to hang stuff through, so we'll see. And then on the big ones, stitching on the names, which right now there's small gaps between the stitches, but those will close up once it's felted. So these 3 are done and ready to go in the wash. And this one is the last one. So I'm going to sew the name in on it and I'll show you how I do that. And then we're going to do some felting. All right, I finished sewing the name on. It looks kind of bumpy, but again, that's gonna work out once it's washed. So these are ready to be washed and felted. So what I do is I turn the stocking inside out, and then I put it on the quick wash cycle on our washing machine, which is about 20 minutes or so, and I usually have to run it about 3 times on that cycle, and I pull it out between the second and third wash to do a little bit of hand felting on there are 3 areas that don't felt as evenly in the washer, so that's the toe, the heel, and the cuff, which is just because those are plain stockinette without the floats in the back, so this all shrinks down faster, and then the stockinette part doesn't shrink quite as quickly, so I pull it out and hand felt those, and then put it back in for one last wash, which also then I get a spin, and it spins out all the extra water, so they're like as close to dry as they can be, which helps with the dry time, because when I was doing it by hand and that was the last step, it would take like days to dry, to the point that the pins holding the stocking were like rusting and leaving rust spots on the stockings. So I prefer to end on a spin cycle just to spin out as much of that extra water as I can. So I'm going to put it through one cycle, and then I'll show you what they look like after one wash. I wanted to show you after the first wash, you can still see individual stitches and you can still see through them, but the fabric is tighter and has a lot less stretch than it had before. So it's starting to felt, but just barely. Here's after 2 washes, so it's got way less stretch. It's very firm, but you can still see individual stitches. It's starting to blur, but you can still definitely see like where the stitches are, which by the time we're done, it'll be much, much harder to tell individual stitches apart. But at this point, I'm going to take it into, I'm going to put it in the sink with some warm soapy water and just rub these parts that I want to kind of felt a little bit more together. Same thing on the heel, rub, rub, rub. And then I will put it back in the wash for one more cycle, which the first 2 cycles I use just a little bit of detergent, which in the long term can break down wool, but since these aren't really going to be washed again in the future, I'm not too worried about it. The last cycle, I will not put any detergent in because I want to make sure it's very well rinsed. Okay, after the third wash, you can see that basically the stitches have melded all together and it's shrunk quite a lot. The last round I find has like the biggest impact. It's not like linear how much it shrinks. It's like a little bit, and then a lot on the last round. So what I'm going to do now is go through and trim off any of these little bits that are sticking up and then pin the stockings out to dry in their final shape. So we ended up not having our small group tonight because there were quite a few people with finals and illnesses, and it's been such a long couple weeks for us. We just needed to take a chill night, and Josh also had a paper due for graduate school, which he's working on his library degree. So he needed to get that done, and I went to a puzzle night with some friends from church, and it was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of people and very loud um, for a chill evening, but it was really fun. At first I was like, this is too overwhelming to work on a puzzle. So I did a little bit of knitting, but then I got sucked into the puzzle, and then I was responsible and came home before the puzzle got done. But it was a lot of fun. I am going to sign off for tonight, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Colossians 1:15-20. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross.